Welcome back to the channel, y'all. I'm JB,
I'm Nada.
and we just finished season 2 of Severance, y'all.
Yep.
So
Let's talk about it. So we did a mid-season review of Severance season 2 a few weeks ago, maybe almost a month ago
It's
now.
like a month, yeah.
So if you have not seen that, if you are not watching Severance, do all the things. And while we're talking about what you should do, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and you hit the bell for notifications for anytime we post another video. Okay? But all right, let's talk about it because a lot of things happened in this finale.
Yeah.
And let's talk about what we like, some of our theories, how they panned out, answers that we got to questions, all of that. So what did you think about the finale?
So I liked the finale. I don't know if I liked how it ended. I liked many parts of the finale.
Okay.
And the finale itself was like its own movie. It was like an hour and a half.
Yeah, it was pretty long. Good. We need a nice, girthy finale.
Yeah.
Okay? To every show.
But yeah, there were some cool parts like Mark having the conversation, his Indian Audi having that conversation.
Yeah.
That was really, really cool.
That was probably like my favorite part of the season finale. Like, one, I think, what's the actor's name? I don't know what your name is, sir. But I think he did a very, very good job. I think everybody...
Adam Scott, I think.
Maybe.
Adam Scott.
I know Adam is right, yes. I think all the actors that have innies and outies do a really good job at portraying two different people.
Yeah.
They do a really, really good job with that. And so like this was one time you got to see Mark like back to back with Innie versus Audi. And I think everybody had compelling arguments for like their side. Like at that point, who were you rooting for?
I don't know who I was rooting for because as the audience member, I'm rooting for Mark, but now I'm dividing my Mark. Is it Innie Mark or Audi Mark? Because at first I was all about Audi Mark. Like I want him to find Gemma. I want that to her to escape. I want that to come to some conclusion and them to, get that back. But at the same time, I'm like, Innie Mark is gonna die. Like,
yes, that's the thing. It's like there are consequences because of course we're all rooting for what happened to Gemma. We need to save Gemma, but there are pure consequences to that. And then we realize even if he doesn't help and he completes Cold Harbor, then that's going to be the end of the Innies anyway. So that's another, I guess, question that we got answered.
And that reason is like that decision is the reason why I was upset about the ending, but we'll get into that.
Okay. I was gonna say Cobell comes out and she just lets you know, okay, this is what's happening. So essentially what Lumen is attempting to do, and we get this throughout the first season, this whole theme of how do you remove the feeling of pain? Like how can you separate yourself from it? And so we really learn that the whole reason Gemma, Mark have been doing all of this stuff is to see, can you be so close to the person that's like this source of this big trauma for you, but does the severance thing work well enough for it not to impact you?
Yeah.
And that's essentially what it is. They said like that Mark is, the numbers is like her tempers or something like that.
Yeah, so the 4 tempers, which is, all the tempers.
4 or 5?
I think it might have been 5. But all the tempers of Kier. And like, I still don't fully understand it because I think, they're so cryptic on the show. But like, I think they're trying to say that her like consciousness, her emotions and stuff like that was like in the numbers, and that as he was separating them, I don't know if he was like building. I feel it's like sort of Miss Cobell said those were the building blocks of like consciousness or something like that. And when he was putting them into a file, like each file, like that was him going from 0 to 100%, building this new consciousness of Gemma. So I kind of feel like as he did each file, she wasn't able to go into one of those doors on the testing floor until he was done with the file. Because maybe in like some computer like language, he was like downloading her new consciousness, and then once it was finished, she was able to step through that door and make a new severed person.
I think it also, I feel like I saw something that said like each door, whatever the scenario was like a different level or like type of pain.
Okay, that's it.
And so maybe it's that once he finished that file, she went past that part and then she did another one, because like what was happening in those, she was experienced like almost a plane crash, the dentist, that's like physical type of pain.
So maybe like there's like different trials, like physical, emotional pain, stuff like that.
So yeah, I don't know what I was thinking Cold Harbor was.
I don't know
if I had a clear like, oh, it's this, it means this. I don't know if I was necessarily expecting that either though. But like, what else is going on? This whole company is solely based on her?
Well, that they're making it seem like the testing that they need for her is the sole importance of the company.
And but that's a lot to be riding for an entire company.
It is.
And like, why Gemma? Because there are tons of other people that work, for Lumen. Why Gemma? Why did they go this route with her?
They showed us that episode, like, I think it was 6 or 5 or 6, where it showed them like meeting. It was Gemma's episode where it showed them meeting, and it showed them like how Lumen was scouting them at the college, and like taking their blood and stuff. It was almost as if they're like, oh, this is the perfect entity because they're already like together. So if we can somehow figure out how to block them from each other, we'll know that our system works, because they have such a close connection.
There weren't any other couples that
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm just saying. So okay, let us know what you think about that. Why do you think they chose Gemma and Mark to be the sole ones that's carrying like this main thing? Why aren't there other people doing the exact same thing?
And who knows, it could be. Maybe we just haven't seen them yet.
Maybe.
Because there are multiple floors in the building. We only saw the server floor and we saw the testing floor. So like, what if there is other, I don't know, what's other floors?
If Mark was the one who needed to complete Cold Harbor, what was everybody else doing?
They were there, I think, to make sure Mark like they were part of his illusion. Like, and so whenever
just part of his illusion.
So in my mind, I feel like they needed to be there just so that he felt comfortable enough to keep doing his work. Because every time like Dylan would be gone, or like, I don't know,
because Dylan was
gone,
like the best one. He was the best employee at one point.
Yeah, he was.
So
but they're basically saying that his work wasn't important.
I guess not. So yeah, I think that was a cool thing to see. So we figure out the Cold Harbor part.
Speaking of Dylan, his whole arc is interesting.
It was.
His whole thing about like his Outie feeling like a bum, and then his Innie feeling like he's this guy's got everything together, who's got stuff, and then he has the relationship with his wife.
I'm gonna take care of you, baby.
Right. He has a relationship with his Outie's wife, but then his Outie has a problem with it. So I'm like, this is an interesting arc. And then the Innie tried to propose to her. And I was like, okay.
And then he tried to quit. So then we see Dylan come back down the elevator, and he's like, dang, he said no. And Milkshake is like, come here. He's like, come here, you need to see this. And so I like the little note that he wrote to himself. Of course, he felt the way.
Yeah, he did.
Which is again funny because it's like, y'all the same person. This is technically y'all's wife. Like, so him saying like, screw you or whatever. But I thought that was kind of funny.
Y'all notice that Dylan drops the most F-bombs in the show, like all the time. I just thought that was really fun. And his mouth is always open, by the way. Always open.
I think yes, he does. And his mouth is always
so
open.
Funny to me.
Okay. But he gave the Innie Dylan the option. Like, if you are saying you don't want to do this, then don't. I feel like in some way his outie felt like you being there and doing this is the only thing good that I really have going on right now, because he's not excelling in other places. So I was happy to see Dylan come back and join Mark and Helly down on the severed floor. So yeah, I thought that was cool. What'd you think about what was it called? Choreography and merriment.
Y'all know they needed some kind of dance party, some type of like dancing scene. I just thought that was random. It felt kind of random.
Couldn't wait.
But his moves
to get up there and start dancing. Boy, he was getting it.
He was getting it, y'all. I was like, okay,
he liked doing that.
Yeah, I don't know. It felt on theme because at the end of, or not at the end, but in season 1 we had the waffle party, and then that was kind of weird and whatever. But see, now it feels like a staple of the show. Now I'm like, okay, at season 3, I need a choreographed.
How are you going to top this marching band? It was a whole HBCU marching band down there. What's his name? Dr. Lee.
And they was doing their own thing when they were trying to confront Milchick in the bathroom. They were like not paying attention. They were doing whatever. It's not until they took the instruments and then they started saying something or whatever. But
which was, I thought that was weird, but again, on brand for the show. Like once all of that started happening, I wouldn't have been down there playing on no trumpet.
Yeah, it was
like I would have been gone.
Yeah.
So, that was cool. But Mark finishes. They got to get out of there because he has to get to.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
What?
Let's talk about the decision.
He has to get to what's the elevator? What's that called? The hallway.
The testing floor. Well, the testing elevator.
Yeah. He has to get there. And he gets there. Let's also talk about Goat Lady shows back up.
Yes. So that was just I was like, I wasn't expecting to see her.
Why they have the goats. So, okay, our theory about
that didn't come true. But
cloning and the goats and the sheep and all of that. That was wrong. I don't know. They still haven't said how we have these replicas of people.
But still, even with the goats, they were like sacrificing it in that little thing. It's like it's a sacrifice for Kier or whatever. I'm like, what?
This is weird.
I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm a little let down because I was so sure.
And so at the end, what I was talking about earlier, that decision that he made to choose to stay with Helly instead of leave with Gemma, I thought, me and her was thinking the same thing, because I'm like, oh, it's a no-brainer. He's gonna go with Gemma. But of course, they had that fight at the very beginning between Innie and Outie. And I feel like that was when you saw him sort of fighting back, when he's like, well, I'm sure as soon as you get your wife, you're going to forget all about us.
All about me.
And I was like, okay.
Very feisty.
He was feisty.
But I mean, I guess I get it.
Yeah, he didn't want to die.
And the whole thing is like, Innies are people too, is what they have been trying to, get across. And so it's like, you want to do what's in your best interest, but I have to do what's in mine. I feel like, I guess we can talk about this now then. I feel like his decision is short-lived unless there is somehow a way for them to stay living.
Right, because based on the knowledge we got right now, all we know is that you made the decision, bro, to really pick Helly to stay there. What's left on the severed floor? So y'all basically destroyed the floor. There's not going to be like the transition from season 1 to 2 where you came back and they're like, yeah, we did some reforms and we made things better for Indies.
They have everything they need.
You trapped Milchick in the bathroom. You murdered Dr. Drummond. You murdered Drummond. There's not going to keep you. Even if you had time with Helly, you might have 10 more minutes, 15.
And that's like really. And
I'm just like,
it was
why would you make this choice? But like I guess they wanted to go the opposite of what we thought. Like they wanted to, put a spin on it and be like, the audience is going to think he's going to go with Gemma, but really we're going to make him go.
And I mean, I don't know, because with the way that conversation went between Innie and Outie, it was kind of giving like, no, I'm going to do whatever it is that I want to do on my own.
And you saw him shift in the conversation. First, it was like all kind. It was like, hey, thoughtful and sweet.
Cool
and then like all of a sudden he's like, well, what'll happen to me? well, I mean, we'll become one person.
We'll try
but what
to
happens to my thoughts?
We'll do
Oh,
reintegration.
blah, blah. Well, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I want to give my life away. He started getting angry. You saw a transition of him getting
Audi
angry.
is like, this is the love of my life. They took my wife from me. They did this. They did that. And Indy's like, that's the love of my life too.
Yeah.
So why are you asking me to give up the love of my life to help you out? Like, now you want to come. He was like, oh, now you want to come and ask me for something.
Yeah,
like they could have been just talking all the time. And I guess
they technically could have.
Well, they did this in a secret
way.
roundabout
But they needed a building or some place for him to walk in and out of for that conversation to take place. It wouldn't happen if they didn't have that.
Yeah. So no, I don't know if I felt like at the end of the conversation that he was going to support Audi Mark.
Yeah.
And I don't think I necessarily felt that way. I thought it was going to get down to the point that it got down to.
Yeah.
But I really was, at the end, I was like, just go with Gemma. That's my thoughts. Because what's going to happen now? Obviously, I mean, they're renewed for season 3?
I mean, it's gotten the highest ratings of any Apple TV show. So, yeah. And so now I feel like, all right, so where are we looking towards season 3, y'all? I feel like in season 3, it's finna be sort of an opposite. Season 2, we saw Mark basically doing everything he can to save Gemma from the testing floor. Now that Gemma's out,
Gemma's gonna be trying.
I feel like Gemma's gonna be trying to save Mark from the severed floor. I'm like, okay, I guess. And I mean, that's just like a wild accusation. I don't know if this won't happen yet, but
I can see that happening for sure. Because his sister Devin is out there, and I mean, so Devin has been the main one trying to like help him and had his back throughout this whole process. Yeah. Cobell is out there, and Cobell obviously got issues with them because we didn't talk about. We realized Cobell is the mastermind of all of it.
She invented the procedure. I'm like, okay. She said the Glasgow block, the overtime contingency. I said she had blueprints.
That episode was a little boring.
Yeah, but big reveal was huge.
That was a big reveal.
That's huge.
So, like, now we see. Where did we say that we had originally thought that maybe she
might be related somehow? I feel like she could be still related somehow.
Because I was like, did we debunk that? I don't know yet.
I don't think so.
But he keeps mentioning about, how he's had all of these other kids. So I don't know. Yeah. Something else to think about is,
and we still don't know about Miss Wong. I guess she's gone now, but.
And they allude to her having other parents. So I don't.
Yeah, that one probably not gonna happen.
I don't think she is Mark and Gemma's baby.
Dang, okay.
Sorry, love.
It's all good.
Miss Wong is gone. What was I saying though? Oh, the dad. His name is Jamie.
Jamie, yeah.
First of all, I hate that.
Is either Jamie or James?
Yes. Does that annoy anybody else?
That's so funny.
I'm like, I kept hearing it, and I'm like, they have to be saying James. But no, it's just James. Anyway, he came and showed up like all weird, walked in on Helly while she was trying to memorize how to get to the testing floor. And he's like, I used to see Kier in Helena,
but now I see him in you.
What if he switches them?
I don't even know how that's possible.
Is it?
If you can you're saying almost not create a new one, but like take your innie and have your Audi become an innie.
Can you just like change which thing they are?
That's interesting. I don't know.
Well, or just take the.
I don't know.
Or, sorry. Or take her innie and just bring her innie out and just let the innie live.
But the innie could only live outside if there was a constant overtime contingency, or if there was a Glasgow block.
I'm sure Lumen has a way to figure that out.
I mean, yeah, they probably do.
Because he's like, no, I like the one that's a fighter.
So you're saying completely silence the Audi and then just let the innie roam?
Because he already alluded to the fact that he likes her more. Then that would give us something a way for Helly R to be
with
outside.
any mark. If Helly R could get out and any mark and her could have a relationship, then I could see why at the end of season 2 he chose to do this. We don't know that now, but it could be a theory for season 3. So
let's see. Any other loose ends that you feel?
I still think that their end goal is still to resurrect Kier. I don't know how they're gonna get there, but I don't know. I feel like all this test, it's like we're doing all these testing to make sure the blocking works, and they're just like, we're trying to see if this, can block trauma and block pain. I feel like that's not the end goal. I feel like that was like a sub goal now, but I feel like that's not like the end game. I don't know yet, but
okay.
I feel like there's something more.
I think season 3 is also going to have another MDR uprising, because think like at the end they were telling all of the choreography and merriment people about like how they needed to turn against Milchek. Where's Milchek at the end of it?
He had just got out. He knocked over that vending machine, and he had just got out the bathroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got to see what happened to poor Milkshake, because he was just real quick. We got to talk about him. We got to talk about Milkshake,
because he acted really well this season, but
he did. Also, just him. He knows he can't stand them people.
That's true. So I thought that we would see him turn this season.
I was hoping.
I thought we would see him.
Hoping we were going to see him turn.
I thought we would see him begin, especially because they kept showing like things that they kept giving us reasons as to why he would. One, he had that review. Yep. The review went bad. 2, he tried to find a friend within Natalie. Didn't find no friend in Natalie. Then even in this last episode, he was talking to the animatronic Kier, and it was like throwing jabs at him and stuff for talking with like large words, It's like
he has a
wonderful lenticular vocabulary or whatever he said. And I'm just like, okay, is everyone, and you can see Milchek's face kind of like dim, and he's bothered inside.
It's brewing,
and I'm waiting for him to turn. I'm just waiting on him to turn.
I need him to turn. I need him to turn.
And if he had turned in this episode, I would have jumped out of my seat, man.
Because
I really wanted him to turn.
What did he do? It wasn't this episode.
What?
He did something, and I was like, "Get him, Milchek." You remember?
What did he do? I can't remember.
I can't remember. Get in the comments. Let us know if you can think about it, because I just remember being so amped. I'm like, no, don't let them dim you down. Okay, if you have the vocabulary, use it. Just because they don't understand what you're saying.
I remember I know what you're talking about. What? He was talking to Drummond. And like
when he told him to eat crap.
Yeah. And like he came back and we was like, okay, Milchek.
Yeah.
It felt like he was standing up for himself for once.
Because
like
he just needs to.
I don't know. I can't wait for him to turn, but I think that's coming.
I need him to turn. Like I don't know if his ambition with the company is going to override. Because there's still this whole like he wants to continue to like
serve Kier or whatever,
serve Kier and all this stupid stuff.
Yeah.
But I want him to turn.
Yeah, me too.
So yes, we needed to talk about Milchek because he did a great job. Again, besides all of his dancing and him being the band leader and all of that stuff. So, what do you all think about Severance season 2? Man, we're at the end of it. Get in the comments. Did your theories pan out the way you thought they would pan out?
Yeah,
did you get all of the questions answered that you have? Like, we want to know what you think about it, okay?
Definitely.
Get in the comments, like the videos, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you can get notified anytime we upload something new, okay? We'll see you all later.
All right. Thanks, y'all. See you later.